Listen to me because I'm telling you this like a father, not like a boss. At 30, I had $500 in the bank, 4 credit cards all maxed out, buying myself a fake kind of freedom every single month, new clothes, unnecessary gadgets, books I was never going to read. I am 47 years old now and my net worth has 8 figures, but I am not telling you that to brag. I am telling you that because my secret was not a high salary. It was not getting into the stock market early. My secret was a 100-year-old Japanese money philosophy, and today I am going to share all of it with you. Take a look at Japan's culture. In America, wealth is visible, it shouts, it gets posted, it gets performed. In Japan, it is the exact opposite. Wealth is hidden, quiet, whispered from generation to generation, from grandmother to mother, from mother to daughter. When I first learned this, it felt like someone had honestly slapped me across the face because I had been playing by the wrong rules my entire life. The first habit is Kakeibo, the 120-year-old handwritten budget ledger. It was invented in 1904 by Japan's first female journalist, designed to help women gain financial independence. At the beginning of each month, you write down 4 things by hand: how much money is coming in, how much your fixed expenses are, how much you want to save, and how much you have left to spend. Then every night you write down what you spent and sort it into one of 4 categories: needs, wants, culture, and unexpected. At the end of the month, you ask yourself 3 questions. How much did I save? What went well? And what will I do differently next month? That is it. But understand this, that is it changes you, because writing by hand wakes your brain up. When you glance at an app on your phone, your brain stays asleep. But when you sit down at night and write Uber Eats $60 want, your hand is telling your brain something. You chose this. It was not a necessity. It was a want. Research shows that Kakeibo can significantly reduce unnecessary spending, and for some people the reduction is quite substantial. I did not hit the full target in my first month, but I still saved a meaningful amount from my monthly income from a $3 notebook. The second habit is Mottainai, the shame of waste. There is no direct translation of this word into English, and I think that says a lot. Mottainai is the deep feeling of regret and discomfort that arises when something useful is thrown away, discarded, or undervalued. In Japan, wasting food, throwing away an appliance that could have been repaired, or replacing something that still works is considered almost morally wrong. In America, it is the exact opposite. Research shows that American households throw away a large portion of the food they buy, and the amount of textile waste per person reaches staggering levels. We replace our phones every couple of years, even though they are designed to last much longer. When I first brought Mottainai into my life, the first thing I did was track the waste in my refrigerator. For 1 week, I photographed everything I threw away: half a bag of spinach, forgotten rice, expired yogurt. Far more money was going in the trash every week than I had ever imagined. I started meal planning around what I already had instead of what sounded good. I started freezing leftovers the same day instead of telling myself I would eat them tomorrow. Within a few months, my grocery spending dropped noticeably. I was not eating less. I was wasting less. Mottainai is not just about food. In Japan, cracked ceramics are repaired with gold lacquer in a tradition called Kintsugi. The broken piece is not thrown away. The repair becomes part of the object's beauty. Apply that philosophy to everything you own. A little worn, a little outdated, a little scratched. It still works. It still serves you. It still has value. The third habit is Hara Hachi, stop at 80%. This principle comes from Confucian teaching and is widely practiced in Okinawa, which has one of the highest concentrations of centenarians in the world. The idea is simple. Stop eating when you feel about 80% satisfied rather than eating until you are completely full. Most Americans eat until they feel uncomfortable. They pile their plates, they supersize, they force themselves to finish everything because they paid for it. When you take Hara Hachi beyond food and apply it to your financial philosophy, something revolutionary happens. You stop filling your life to 100% capacity. You leave room. Room in your stomach, room in your closet, room in your budget, room in your schedule. That remaining 20% is not deprivation. It is margin, and margin is where wealth lives. In practical terms, it works like this. You behave as though you are living on 80% of your income, and the rest is untouchable. It goes automatically into savings and investment accounts as if it does not exist. When you look at personal savings rates across many countries, Americans consistently fall behind. Japan's cultural target through practices like Hara Hachi is much higher. That gap is the difference between a stressful retirement and a comfortable one. On the same salary, small differences saved consistently compound over decades into dramatic outcomes, opening up a gap of hundreds of thousands of dollars. In Okinawa, this principle is not taught as a diet hack or a financial strategy. It is taught as a form of respect. Respect for food because you do not waste it through overconsumption. Respect for your body because you do not burden it unnecessarily. Respect for your future because you leave resources available for tomorrow instead of consuming everything today. And that word respect is exactly what is missing from American money culture. Many Americans carry high-interest credit card debt on their backs. Carrying borrowed comfort is like boasting about eating 120% full and then wondering why you feel sick. Hara Hachi is not just a saving strategy, it is a form of self-respect. It is telling your future self, I left something for you. I did not consume it all. The fourth habit is Kaizen, continuous small improvement. You may have heard this word from the manufacturing world. Toyota made it famous as a production philosophy, but in Japanese daily life, Kaizen applies to everything, including money. The principle is that you do not try to overhaul your life in one dramatic move. You improve by 1% repeatedly over a very long period of time. Applied to money, it looks like this. This month, you reduce your dining out spending a little, not by half, just a little. Next month, you increase your retirement contribution slightly. The month after, you cancel one subscription, then you negotiate one bill, then you switch one brand name product to generic. Each change is so small it feels insignificant. Each change is so easy it requires almost no willpower. But 1 year of Kaizen produces a completely different financial life than the one you started with, and you barely felt the transition. The reason Kaizen works better than dramatic financial overhauls is neuroscience. Your brain's amygdala, the fear center, activates when you attempt large changes. That is why most people who radically slash their budgets at the new year abandon them within a few months. The change was too large. The amygdala resisted and willpower eventually lost the war. Kaizen flies under the amygdala's radar. Small improvements do not trigger resistance. One day you look up and realize your savings rate has risen dramatically over the course of a year, and you genuinely cannot pinpoint the moment it happened. The fifth habit is Ikigai, the purpose of your money. Ikigai roughly translates to reason for living. In the West, it has been popularized as a career-finding framework, the intersection of what you love, what you are good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. But in Japan, Ikigai is not about career optimization. It is about having a purpose that gives structure and meaning to your daily life. When you apply Ikigai to money, it answers the question that no spreadsheet ever asks, what is this money for? Most Americans save money without purpose or spend money without intention. There is no guiding philosophy underneath the behavior. Ikigai gives you that philosophy. When you know what your money is for, when you have identified the specific life you are building, every spending decision becomes a vote for or against that life. My friend Terrence defined his Ikigai as being present for his daughter's childhood without financial stress. Once he had that clarity, every unnecessary purchase became an obstacle to his reason for being. He did not need willpower to stop impulse buying. He needed purpose. After he found his Ikigai, impulse purchases did not just feel expensive, they felt irrelevant. The sixth habit is Wabi-sabi, finding beauty in imperfection. This is one of the most profound Japanese aesthetic and philosophical concepts, and it is the direct antidote to the consumer culture that dominates American spending. Wabi-sabi is the appreciation of things that are imperfect, impermanent, and incomplete. A cracked bowl that still holds soup, a wooden table with scratches that tell the story of 100 family dinners, a sweater with a small mend that reminds you how long you have loved it. In America, imperfection is a reason to replace. Scratch on your phone screen? New phone. Scuff on your shoes? New shoes. Couch cushions slightly flattened? Time to browse West Elm. The consumer economy depends on your dissatisfaction with things that still work. Wabi-sabi invites you to find satisfaction in them instead. When you calculate the financial impact of this mindset shift over time, it is staggering. Americans spend enormous amounts every year on the categories most driven by aesthetic dissatisfaction: apparel, home furnishings, and consumer electronics. Even if Wabi-sabi reduced that spending by a modest percentage, the annual savings would add up to a serious number. Compounded over decades, that transforms into a small fortune built from a philosophy of finding beauty in what you already own. The seventh habit is Osoji, the annual deep clean and financial reset. In Japan, Osoji is a tradition performed at the end of each year. Families thoroughly clean their entire home, discard what no longer serves them, and enter the new year with physical and mental clarity. It is not spring cleaning. It is more intentional than that. It is a ritual of letting go. Applied to finances, Osoji becomes an annual financial reset. Once a year, ideally at the end or beginning of the year, you sit down and conduct a complete audit of your financial life. Every subscription, every recurring charge, every insurance policy, every investment allocation, every debt balance, every auto pay. You review all of it, cancel what is not serving you, renegotiate what can be lowered, and realign everything with your current goals. Most people set up financial systems and then never revisit them. Subscriptions pile up. Insurance premiums creep higher. In my first financial Osoji, I discovered monthly charges quietly draining from my account that I had completely forgotten about or no longer needed. When I calculated the annual total, the number genuinely surprised me. The eighth habit is chokin, save first. Chokin literally means savings, but in Japanese financial culture it represents a specific habit. You save before you spend, not whatever is left over at the end of the month. The first thing that happens when money enters your account is that a portion of it leaves immediately into a savings or investment vehicle. The spending happens with whatever remains. This is the opposite of how most Americans operate. The typical American pattern is earn, spend, and hope something is left to save. The Japanese chokin model is earn, save, then spend what remains. The difference sounds semantic. It is not. It is structural. When saving comes first, your spending naturally contracts to fit the remaining amount. When saving comes last, there is never anything remaining because expenses expand to fill whatever is available. Parkinson's law applies to money exactly the way it applies to time. Work expands to fill the time available. Spending expands to fill the income available. Choken breaks this law by reducing the available income before spending begins. Let me give you a concrete example because the math makes this habit undeniable. Say someone brings home a certain amount every month after taxes. Under the typical American model, they spend throughout the month and save whatever is left. In practice, nothing is ever left. Their spending expands to fill their income. Now imagine that same person implementing chokin the morning after payday. 20% of their income moves automatically into a combination of a retirement account, an individual investment account, and a high-yield savings account. They never see that money. The human brain is remarkably adaptable when the option to spend does not exist, and they adjust within a couple of months. After 1 year, the amount saved is striking compared to what the old habit would have produced. Over decades, with compound interest, that gap multiplies enormously. Same salary, same city, same life. The only variable is the order of operations. Save first, then spend. Japanese households have practiced this sequence for generations. Credit card debt is nearly non-existent in Japan, partly because the vast majority of Japanese credit cards are set by default to auto-pay the full balance every month. Carrying a revolving balance is culturally unusual. In the United States, nearly half of credit card holders carry a balance, and total credit card debt keeps breaking records with every passing year. The structural difference is not income. Japan's median household income is lower than America's. The difference is sequence. Save first, spend second. That is chokin. That is the habit. The ninth habit is Shinrin-yoku and free living. Shinrin-yoku means forest bathing. It is the practice of spending quiet, contemplative time in nature as a form of stress reduction and mental restoration. It costs nothing. The broader principle it represents is what I have come to think of as free living, the deliberate choice to build your leisure, social life, and recreation around activities that do not cost money. In the United States, leisure is almost synonymous with spending. Fun costs money, relaxation costs money, socializing costs money. A night out, a weekend trip, a movie, a concert, a shopping excursion framed as entertainment. The average American household sets aside a serious budget for entertainment every year. Japanese culture offers a fundamentally different model. Walking, cooking together, reading, gardening, park visits, temple visits, tea ceremonies performed at home. The richest moments of daily life happen without a transaction. When I started building my weekends around activities that cost nothing, parks, cooking with friends at home, library visits, long walks, my entertainment spending dropped dramatically within a few months. I did not miss anything. The quality of my weekends actually improved because I stopped equating fun with consumption and started equating it with presence. The 10th and final habit is Hansei, honest self-reflection. This last habit is the one that holds all the others together. Hansei is a Japanese practice of sincere, rigorous self-reflection. It is not self-criticism. It is not guilt. It is an honest examination of what you did, what went well, what did not, and what you will do differently. In Japanese schools, children practice Hansei. It is embedded in the culture. You do not reflect because you failed. You reflect because reflecting is how you grow. Applied to finances, Hansei is the monthly review that closes the Kakeibo loop. You sit down with your notebook, look at what you spent, look at what you saved, and ask yourself 3 questions without judgment. Did I meet my savings goal? What purchases brought me genuine value? And what would I do differently? This habit, this 10-minute monthly practice of honest financial reflection is the most important habit on this list because it is the mechanism by which all the other habits improve. Mottainai gets sharper because you notice the waste. Hara gets easier because you see where you overfilled. Kaizen gets direction because you identify the next small improvement. Without Hansei, they stand separately. With it, they compound. And that word compound is exactly where I want to leave you. Everything I have described in this video, every one of these 10 habits, operates on the same principle that compound interest does. Small, consistent inputs repeated over time, producing results that are wildly disproportionate to the effort. A few dollar notebook and a short daily session of Kakeibo does not sound like a wealth-building strategy. Neither does leaving 20% of your plate empty or finding beauty in a scratched table. But these tiny behaviors stacked on top of each other, practiced day after day, month after month, year after year, produce something that no income level can produce on its own. They produce a relationship with money that is grounded, intentional, and sustainable. The wealthiest people I have studied, and I do not mean the flashiest or the highest earners, I mean the ones with the deepest financial security and the least financial anxiety, share one trait. They understand how money works at a fundamental level. They understand compound interest. They understand the difference between an asset and a liability. They understand that a dollar saved is worth more than a dollar earned because it arrives without tax, without effort, and without burnout. That understanding has a name: financial literacy. It is the soil that every one of these Japanese habits grows in. Without it, Kakeibo is just a notebook. Mottainai is just a word. Choken is just a concept you heard in a video and forgot about by next week. With financial literacy, these habits become a system. A quiet, ordinary, profoundly effective system that builds wealth the same way a Japanese garden grows, slowly, intentionally, with every element placed for a reason, nothing wasted, nothing rushed, nothing performed for an audience. There was a time when I was the man sitting at a kitchen table surrounded by things he did not need, bought with money he did not have, with a credit card balance that made his stomach hurt every time he opened the app. That man did not need a higher income. He needed a different philosophy. He needed to learn that wealth is not built by earning more. It is built by understanding more. The habits came after the understanding. The results came after the habits. Japan figured this out a long time ago. Some of these principles go back more than a century. They survived world wars, economic collapses, natural disasters, and cultural transformations because they work. They work because they are built on something deeper than tactics. They are built on respect for money as a resource, respect for yourself as the steward of that resource, and the quiet discipline to protect both. You do not need a bigger paycheck to start building wealth. You might already earn enough. You just need a notebook, a pen, and the willingness to pay attention to where your money actually goes. That is where it starts. That is where it always starts.